Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're calling from, me and joining from, by the way. Thank you all for being part of this show today. Yeah, it's yet another time on the data and AI with the Iboke. The last time we were able to lay our hands on the Python integration to Microsoft Excel. We tried a couple of things there, but we could not finish because of the time. We were trying to do everything under 1 hour. We could not finish up the use case. But in case you've gained access to the Python feature, I want to believe you've started working with it. Don't worry, all the information and those resources will be shared very soon, specifically next week. Today, I have another interesting topic that I'm bringing close to you, which is navigating data career interview. Be it data engineer or whoever who you are, data analyst, business intelligence analyst, data scientist, machine learning engineer, whatsoever your role is, you need to prepare for interview. And as a matter of fact, preparing for interview is different from job hunting. You can do a lot, you can commit a lot of time searching for job. If you are not well prepared for interview, those efforts can be wasted. And we have a couple of funny experiences. So first we have guests that are coming to speak to us and share with us how you can navigate interview for your data career roles. So but before that, I want to briefly share and ask you a few couple of questions in case you're joining wherever you're joining from. Please share from LinkedIn. Some guys are joining right now on Facebook, some directly on YouTube. Feel free to comment where you're joining. Okay. And this topic is very important. The whole goal of you looking for a job is so that you can ace through the interview. If you are applying for a job and you are not prepared for the interview, it's more or less like a waste of time. And there are ways to prepare. So we're going to hear briefly today from our guests how to navigate those spaces. But just before that, note that job hunting in itself is a work. So and it has a skill. So there's a process for you to job hunt, which is not just cold email or just reaching out to people in their DM or just applying to job. That's not where it stops. It starts from how you get people to notice you and invite you for interview. So I used to say this: how will you get the job without being interviewed? Except you own the company, except your father own the company, except there's few scenarios, but ideally for you to get the job, you should be interviewed. And how do you get interviewed if you are not noticed? Something should happen. You should be noticed before the recruiter will invite you for interview. And that lay emphasis on how do you get noticed if you don't put something out there. Done through your post, through your support, your contribution to the community, you must do something. And this notice is not like, oh, here I am. No, it's as simple as a recruiter sieving through CVs and portfolios of people and pinpointing yours or I'm picking yours among several others and say, I need to invite this set of people for interview and let go the other. So it is that process of getting noticed. And that's why I emphasize on working on projects, finding ways to showcase your skill, things like that. Good. But when you have been, after you've been noticed, you go in for the interview, at that point, it's another ball game entirely. It's another ball game. So have you been interviewed in the past and it looks like you know nothing? I've had those funny scenario. I mean, I skill up, I learn, I have skill, but you show up in that interview, they ask you questions, and all of a sudden, just look at as if you don't know what you're doing, as if you don't know anything. As if those things are too technical, you know. And we have people who do not have as much skill as you have, but because they've understood how best to prepare for technical interviews or any interview in these data roles, they appear in their top game because they prepare. And it is true. When we get to the job, don't worry, we'll sort it out. Growth mindset. We're going to skate through. I'm going to ask you this question quickly before I bring up our first speaker today, who is a experienced machine learning engineer. So we're going to start with that. If you're into machine learning, you are wondering, oh, what would the interview look like? In 2020, I interviewed for LinkedIn, data scientist and more or less it was first data scientist, the machine learning role. Later, the role shifted because there was no availability and became artificial AI role. I'll talk. I won't give the detail, but I will tell you. I'll give a summary of how it went. So it's good for us to hear from someone who is experienced, who is doing this at high scale. I so much appreciate and respect him. Guys, you need to know that you're going to learn a lot from this. So we're going to hear from you. But first, on the scale of 1 to 10, how frequently do you prepare for interviews? I just want to ask. Just drop it in the comment section. Do you even prepare? Or is it until you have interview that you prepare? There are two things entirely. Are you conscious of preparing for interview? Like if you attend anything from 8 to 10, it shows that even without job interview, you actually make an attempt to prepare for interview. Yeah. But anything lower than 7 means that it is only when you have a job or you have an interview coming up, that's when you prepare. So let it be that way. Okay. Good. And then between job hunting and preparing for interviews, which do you invest more time into? Which of them? So just share in the comment section. I need this so that we can assess ourselves where are we right now. And when we start this session and have a guest, come up to share things with us, you get to know more from them. Right. So we are stopping here while I bring up our guest today. Our first guest this morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're joining from, is going to be Ridwan Amure. Ridwan is a machine learning engineer who has worked across several industries. And to be honest, he is an amazing person that you will get to know and meet and learn quite a lot from. So don't forget, data engineer, that's the first role that we have right now. Navigating data career is the title of this session, but the first person we're having now is Ridwan, and he'll be walking us through a couple of questions that we'll be asking, making it interactive. Um, how do you prepare for role interview in data machine learning engineer? So, but first, let's meet Ridwan. So, hello, Ridwan, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from where you're joining from. I can't hear you. Not sure if you can hear me. Hey, Ridwan is me. All right. I think there's a bit of technical issue going on there. Device not connected, but I think it's on now. Hello, Ridwan. Still couldn't hear Ridwan. Okay. So I see there are a couple of questions right in the comments, so I'm just going to jump quickly to them. Good evening, everyone. Francis Polarami from Nigeria. Thank you, FF Analytics, Francis, for joining. I see quite a lot of people who actually commit more of their time to job hunting and maybe less to prepare for interview. Nothing is actually bad. It's not like it's bad. It's just to bring to our consciousness that just as you are job hunting, you also need to be conscious of preparing for interview. Bumi Akinremi, thanks. Well, I'm not currently job hunting. Interesting, but open to offers. That's great. Bumi, thank you. Of course, the world is seeing this, and of course, I so much wish you get to land that dream role through this. I see Faith of Segale. At this point, I apply for just more than I prepare for interview. Good. Good. There's really nothing back there. But the point here is you should also start becoming conscious of interview. And let me cite an example. One time while I was preparing for I used to prepare for technical interviews in the past. So I reached out to one of my mentor online via Twitter, and he mentioned that when he got his role into the FANG, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix, all those, we used to use that word to call them, that it took him 4 months to prepare for the interview. So even before he started applying for roles, he already knows that, oh, all these kind of roles, this is the nature of their interview. Data structure and algorithm, you solve lead code problem, you do this. So he had started. preparing for all this. He was constantly solving those problems and challenges. And after he has done that for 2, 3 months, then he started applying for roles. He had 4 offers at once when he was done with all this interview after 2, 3 months of all those interviews. 4 offers, and was able to use them to to bargain and do all those discussion for salary negotiation. So it's because he had prepared. If the first approach we do today is we go and apply for a job, maybe they give us 2 weeks for interview. You had not so much time or enough time to prepare for interview. But you can also do well that in your job hunting, you are also preparing alongside for interview. Solving the right kind of questions. Preparing a demo interview with people. Seeking for that moment, 30 minute interview, just so that they can assess and drill you. You are doing that before you even get officially invited for an interview. I'm telling you, you will hardly lose that opportunity. So sorry, we're having some technical difficulties bringing on board with one, but let me see if there's anything. Okay.
Hi.
Oh, he's right here. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So good to have you, Ridwan. So moving straight, in fact, I've been so full of energy. Can't wait to get to hear from you. But let's start from who you are. Can you just tell us a bit about yourself? Maybe in a couple of seconds, 30 seconds or less.
Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah, I'm just Ridwan. Sorry, can you hear me? Please confirm you can hear me first before
I, I,
I continue.
I can hear you loud and clear.
That's fantastic. All right, so I'm Ridwan. I'm a machine learning engineer. Actually, I don't like titles. Basically, it defines who you are because at every point we need to be very versatile and very adaptable. So, but basically, I'm a machine learning engineer. But sometimes I work as a data scientist. Some I work as an AI engineer. So basically, I work in different roles. So I have a background in applied science. So I moved into data science some years back, and I've been doing that for over I think 5 years now. So yeah, my area of specialization is in computer vision and natural language processing. But recently, I'm diving into graph machine learning now and trying to do some good things around it. Yeah, I've worked in different industry from agriculture to insurance to health sector, and I'm currently doing my PhD in computer science, where I'm trying to combine machine learning, NLP, and social computation.
Well, to be honest, that's quite a lot. So this is why we advise you to welcome back to this video. You must not miss every moment shared in this. Listen to that again, especially the intro about Ridwan. He has vast knowledge and experience. All those things he's mentioning, trust me, it started one day. And boy, he's so good at them today and so vast at them. So it doesn't, it's not a one-day journey. But you need to know if in case you are doing machine learning, you're wondering, is it the same machine learning I'm doing, or is my own keke learning, or not this machine? Those kind of things. But you need to listen and follow to understand that yes, it's the same. It's the same. So thank you, Ridvan. Quite a lot to get from you today. Let me
Yeah.
ask this. I know I've not put this question to you before. Have you had a funny interview experience in the past? Maybe you went for an interview and you were just shocked the way you were interviewed. Maybe you were less prepared or you did not even have idea that they used to ask this kind of questions in that kind of interview. Have you had kind of funny experience like that in the past?
Yeah. My first role as a machine learning engineer, I interviewed as a software engineer actually. So that was my first role, and that was my first full play. I think the interview was about 5 stages. The first stage was just the normal aptitude test. But the second stage was the coding test. That was the first time in my life of writing a coding test live while sharing my screen with the interviewer. And everyone knew you should practice and code that you train and all those kind of stuff. I never did. That was my first time. Yeah, so it was very daunting experience actually. Because I shared my screen, I turned on my video, and the interviewer turned off their video. So I didn't even know if they were laughing at my codes or anything. You understand? So that was my first experience. So it was later I got the job actually. It was later I when I spoke to people, they were like, "Oh, the introductions. Oh, you could actually learn this, this." Oh, I was like, "Oh, so this thing is actually." Then they asked me, how did you pass it?" I said, "I don't know, but I just did the coding and it worked." Yeah, so I experienced that. That was my first time.
Thanks for sharing that because my first time writing a live coding experience was not even that live because there was no interview live, but I was using a platform to write code on Codivity when I was interviewing for a role back then at Microsoft. That was the first one I applied for. I was shocked because I just clicked on there. I was thinking they were asking me some survey question. All of a sudden, just opened up a coding platform and was asking me to write SQL against some test cases. I said, Omo, ewo leleyi, can I go back? No, you cannot close.
They gave me data structure and algorithm. They gave,
So,
they gave me data structure and algorithm live to solve
I
live.
was
I was
shocked.
like,
But
okay,
if I knew, I would have prepared for that. So, and thanks for
yeah,
sharing that with
yeah.
us.
If I knew.
So, quick question for you. What are the main concepts or areas that are being tested? If you are interviewing for machine learning engineers today.
You see, it varies. Like I said, now because you're an engineer, you might be tested for data structure and algorithm at a stage. At another stage, you can be tested for system design. You understand, machine learning system design. Okay, because as a machine learning engineer, you must be able to build a model from scratch to deployment. So you must be able to design the infrastructure to host that. So they want to test all those things. So just that coding, and there might be some other coding tests that it will be take home. For the take home, it's a different thing. We can talk about the what you are expected to do in the take home. Because they're going to take it home, they expect a different level of professionalism in that take home. But for the coding test, it could be the data structure algorithm, it could be a Python, maybe a data analysis, it could be SQL, and it could be system
System
design. So it
design.
depends on the specific field.
Interesting. Thanks for giving us that. And also, in case you are listening to this as machine learning engineer, what one of the reasons why Ridwan mentioned system design is some of the solutions you are deploying might be maybe integrated to IoT, integrated to an app endpoint that's being used by millions of people. You think it's simple, it's not simple because it's the moment you start deploying that thing, you realize maybe the infrastructure, the architecture you've drawn, it cannot accommodate that scale, all those kind of things. So, in case you've not even thought about system design or you've thought about data structure and algorithm, you're like, oh, I've not been doing that. You need to because they will assess you on things like that. If you are going that route. So please keep that in mind. Because of time, we are moving quickly to the next question. And of course, I think we've talked about this. Does this assessment involve, does this interview involve some level of assessment via coding platform or created project or both? You've talked about that, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you want to say one or two things.
Yeah, yeah. Mostly now they use lead code, they use Akarank. Now, mostly lead codes and Akarank. Or they can give you their own specialized platform or give you their own project for you to take home and work on. But usually lead code and Akarank, that is most common. You understand? So if you can concentrate on those, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say you should just concentrate on lead code and Akarank. I would say you should look at your what you actually want to do, your skills level, and the companies you're targeting. Once in a while, you could go to Lead Code and account and do and not just continue to practice. You understand? Because you don't want to spend your time on data structure and algorithm and you don't actually know what machine learning is. That's going to you won't get because you will not even get to the stage where you are meant to do the data structure and algorithm. You need to understand machine learning so that they can instruct you for the data structure and algorithm. So understand machine learning because after that's an algorithm, stage of machine learning will be tested. So it's important you know machine learning, but it's kind of be practicing for the data structure and algorithm. It's so that's where I do it. I focus more on machine learning, but I I'll practice those data structure and algorithm once in a while.
Thank you for that. Quickly, there's a question here from Adeni Adeni. What programming language were you asked to write, and what IDE? Would you
It is when you're using lead code or Akarank or any of those other things, they will give you a very raw ID. all those linting that we have, all those auto suggestions, you won't have all those things. You know, and you have the choice to choose a programming language. You can write in Python, you can write in Python. Now, this thing, let me mention this, please. Look at the job requirement. If you know Python, you know Java, you know C. But look at the projects, look at the job posting. If they specify Python as the programming language that they are looking for, please write your test in Python. But if you're not good in that programming language, you can use any other one that you're good in. But try as much as possible to use the one that was mentioned in the job posting. If there's okay, you want someone that's very good in Java. If you know Java, use Java to write the test. If you don't, use the one that you're comfortable with. But the first choice is the one that was mentioned in that job posting. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. It's important. Those are very, see, as simple as that is, if you go ahead and write yours in Java and they need Python for that role, and someone else could write it in Python and do it well, they might still go ahead with that person. Those little
yeah,
things,
yeah,
matter.
that
So
happens.
this is why this is why you should bear that in mind. Thank you for calling attention to that. Those are tips that can help you stand out in those interviews. Thank you very much. We are moving close to the end of this particular phase. I want to ask this question: what are the recommended resources you would advise a machine learning engineers to use as a pro guide? Maybe two or three, and then the listeners now can actually follow up with that.
Okay, I'll say okay for preparing for your data session algorithm, please lead code and Akarank grind those problems as much as possible for your data session algorithm. For your system design, I would say there's a book. I can get it and I'll send it to you. Okay, you can get it across. There's a book on system design. It's very I would say detailed, for software system design, but you can also always adapt it to machine learning. So those two resources, I think they would help you a lot. If you make it to, not everyone does the system design, but that data science algorithm I've noticed is very, very common nowadays for machine learning engineer. For data science role, you might not get it. You might just get Python and maybe SQL test. But for machine learning engineering, most times they would test your data structure algorithm.
Awesome. That's exactly what I want to put out there so that you're aware. As a data scientist, like you mentioned, I've done that interview in the past that I had to use Python, just solve some Python problem, and SQL, very important. I did that as well. And yeah, majorly, and some multiple choice questions also came out for me there, just to test my understanding of the business. Right there. So I did a session where I have multiple choice about 5 questions, then move on, to other area where I was asked to actually write and write code. Okay, so bear that in
Yeah.
mind. Okay.
Yeah. So one last
Yeah.
thing is that for take home assignments, please always understand the problem that you want to solve, understand what they want you to do, and write like a full project. Ensure that what you obey all software engineering rules. Maintainability, reliability, your code must be reusable, abstract the code, do everything that is necessary for a full-fledged project. You understand? And always include a README to it. It's very important. Include a README. Make sure your project is readable, is reproducible. The results it's easy because for take home assignment they expect a different level of professionalism. You must do everything like you're submitting a project, a ready-made production ready project.
Thank you. In fact, these are additional, tips that is going to help you a lot. And thanks for sharing that with us, Ridwan. We are done, but I have just few questions here that I want us to share. Um, Saratri is asking, what's the name of the book on system design? Don't worry, I'll get that from him, and I'm going to add it as comment to this, wherever you're joining from now. Either on LinkedIn, you're going to see it there. If you're on YouTube, you're going to see that comment, after later today. And the last question that I also have here is from Leonardo. How deep you need to go into lead code for data structure and algorithm questions? He mentioned that blind 150 would be enough even for fun. Like, would blind 150 be enough even for fun? Because it's hard to balance data specific tools with data structure and algorithm. I'm not sure if this question is clear for you.
Okay, yes, that okay, yes, that was why I mentioned that. you need to concentrate more on your machine learning skills. Once in a while, to do data structure and algorithm, ensure you are very okay with those data structure and algorithm questions. It's basically for your interview, but so it's a very difficult thing. It's like you need to understand that machine learning tool is a combination of software engineering, mathematics, and computer science. You understand? You cannot remove that software engineering part. Your job is more you're going to do more because you need to do the software engineering and you need to do your machine learning. So if you want to go into that machine learning engineering role, you must be able to balance that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ridwan. We've come to the end. In case you have more questions for Ridwan, please. The question is, how can they either follow you, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, just to consume and follow through with your wisdom and your experience that you often share with the community. I'll get that details, but from you and share. But in case you want to speak and give your a final word to anyone right now who is currently prepared for an interview in this role, what will you say to that person alongside you?
Hi, did you say something to me?
Yeah, so I was asking that I asked two things. First, if you have a place for people to follow you, like on Twitter, your username.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on LinkedIn, just Ridwan Amure. That's my name.
Awesome.
RIDWANAMURE. Yeah, that's all. On Twitter too. I don't know. I can send it in the chat. So
All right,
that
all
way
right.
we can all connect. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ridwan, for being part of this session today. Because it is not magic, there is a pathway to navigating data career interviews, and we just talked about being a machine learning engineer. The next session coming up right now is about data engineer role. And right there, I already have in the studio my guest, who is a data engineer at Microsoft, Temilola Onaneye, who I'm going to bring on board right now. And we'll talk about data engineer and how things, are there. Okay, I'm also going to post in the comments in case you want to follow Ridwan on Twitter. So you have the ID, so you can Ridwan Amure ML, machine learning. I have with me in the studio Temilola Onare, and okay, right. Hi Temilola, can I confirm? Can you hear me?
Hi, Olarewaju.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you for making time to join us today. In the next couple of minutes, we're just going to go through, sap from some of your experience, around preparing for a job role as data engineer. I'm so happy because I have two cool friends right on the call. Tefla and Ridwan have been a good friend of each other for quite a long time, and having them do so well in their career, experience and successful as well, and today you're featuring. I mean, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that you guys, has given to me to have you on the show. So, speaking to you first, Timmy, would you like to share briefly about yourself, like 30 seconds? What do you do today? I talked about where you work, but you might just want to add to that so that our audience get to know you more.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Timola Nene, by the way, and currently I'm a data engineer with Microsoft, and my day to day involves tending to customer needs and also working on in-house data solutions. Yeah, Microsoft. So apart from just moving data around, it also involves understanding the business needs for different customers, different downstream partners, and all of that. On the side, I am a football geek. Yeah, geek. Yeah, I love playing games, and one of my very best hobbies would be also watching animes too. Yeah, seeing animes too. Yeah. So that's just like a little bit about me.
I'm sure I'm just forming to be a tech. Because most of those I've noticed you guys you like watching anime, but yeah, I don't like maybe because I don't have TV when I was growing up. Yeah, I don't. Well, it's interesting, by the way. Thanks for sharing that part with us. But I'm sure I love the part that we used to play both together, sometimes. And yeah, I can attest to that. That Timber is very good on the pitch. Okay, so quickly moving to the questions that we have here. The first one is about, now that we are talking about data engineers, the first one here is going to be the nature of the interview. So, how does it look like? What does it look like to be interviewed as a data engineer today? What are the nature of the interview? Is it just practical? Is it something that comes with a quiz? Is it live coding? Is it a project they will give to you? What are the nature of the interview?
First off, I would say different companies have different ways they interview for data engineering roles and software engineering roles. So I would say the first thing as an individual, be it a beginner or intermediate or mid-level or an experienced folk, the first thing you should do would be that before interviewing with any company, you would want to do your own personal research first and understand where the company currently is as of today in terms of data stacks, in terms of data needs, what they currently do with data, what tools are they using, and what technologies are they using. Then also look at you can make use of platforms like Glassdoor and also look at other platforms to just ask around, try to know how they conduct interviews for different people across different levels based on which one you are applying to. So for me, I would say the first thing to do is to understand what the mode of interview for the company. Then let me pick an example. Let me take an example here. So let's say a company like Microsoft now, let's take for example Microsoft as an example. A data engineering role is also a software engineering role. So you obviously know that, oh, as a data engineer or an aspiring data engineer for Microsoft, you can't escape because you can't escape data structures and algorithm. So if it's going to be 4 to 5 rounds of interviews, apart from the old data jargon, apart from your previous experience and all of that, you would need to adequately prepare for data structures and algorithm interview, system design interview, because these are ways they test your skills directly for the company, for them directly. And you could use platforms like LeetCode, HackerRank, just to prepare ahead, and also make use of books like Cracking the Coding Interview. And all. I don't know if I've missed the question, but I think I'll just stop here and
No,
let
no,
Ola
you
answer.
said so much, that's so helpful, and I'm already seeing a lot of similarity that any role that looks like engineering, either data, either
Yeah,
electrical engineer, but no, not electrical engineer. Those guys. Either data, either machine learning,
cloud
either software engineering,
engineering.
cloud
Yeah,
engineering. There's always this thing about data structure and algorithm. There's always this thing about understanding system design, because engineering in itself, you are
yeah,
designing, you're engineering something. So and you must have that.
exactly.
And I'm wondering, a beginner who is just say, "Oh, I want to be a data engineer." In what how will they have system design experience? What kind of thing can they do, or to simulate that experience, even though they've not worked before? I'm not. Is there anything you can say to this? Tell
Yes, I would say the first thing one would do is that for system designs and for all those design interviews, apart from the fact that there are resources out there to prepare with, the first thing I would say you should do is you need to work on your own personal projects. So you need to like create your own use cases yourself, formulate your own problems yourself, because at the end of the day, system design question is a problem whereby they want to see how you design a solution. Yeah. So it's always okay. So one thing I usually do then when I was preparing for interviews was that I'll reach out to more senior folks and I'll tell them to share, because most of these senior folks, the thing is that as a beginner now, you are still doing interview at let's say level 1 or level 2. Maybe your interview experience is like 3 to 4 interviews. But for someone who is like a senior engineer now, he might be having an interview experience of close to like 40 interviews that he has done looking for different roles and positions. So what I usually do is that I reach out to these guys and I tell them to share there are different interview assessments, there are different interview questions, and I try to break it bit by bit and formulate solutions for them. And also look for a way of maybe writing about these solutions that I create, publishing on Medium or putting it on GitHub, creating a portfolio and all of that. That's literally the best way to start as a beginner. Because if you go into, let's say, maybe reading a book and doing all the other stuffs, you won't like actually get the actual experience itself of the system design experience itself. You won't really get it. Then lastly, um I would say system design interview preparation is useless if you don't do mock interviews. So I have a group of friends that I went to university with. So what we usually do is that whenever any of us wants to get into maybe the big tech or maybe any of the tech giants or something, there is a particular platform we use. It's called Pramp. So we'll just tell ourselves, Alpha, who is available? I want to send calendar invite. Let's pramp ourselves up. So that pramp is spelled as PRAMP. It's a way we conduct mock interviews for one another, actually. And the thing is that from those mock interviews, your fellow friend or colleague will be able to highlight all of your weaknesses, what you could do better, and all of that, and share it with you also. So that's the best way a beginner can start. Look for previous interview assessments, start with, then also conduct mock interviews with maybe friends, senior colleagues, and all of that. Yeah.
This is very good. I mean, that's awesome. Express you just shared with us. First, the idea of reaching out to experienced person whom have witnessed several interviews, in the past. They could share maybe when they were just starting, or any challenge that they come across in the past, and share those ones with you. You go on your own, try to address it, and come back with the results, and also preparing and doing those mock interviews. That is really, really an insightful contribution. I really appreciate that, because today beginners always ask the question. I'm not experienced. I need to get into a company to have the experience, and the company wants you to be able to demonstrate that you know this before they even bring you on board. So there's always that
Yeah.
conflict, but there's always a way to navigate around it, and that's what you just shared with us. Reach out to experienced people who can give you a challenge, some of the things they've witnessed in the past, and definitely you can use it to build up that experience and use that to demonstrate the skill. Thank you very much. That's a very valuable insight. And I see Adeto, really Adedoto Adeboye really, acknowledging that as well. You mentioned Pram. I want to see more people using that platform, any equivalent platform.
Yeah.
That's a very cool thing. Recently, I did similar thing with my friend. We didn't even use the platform. We just set up a meeting invite, because anytime one is preparing for interview, we will go through. We stand on each other and criticize that work as if it's no longer our friend. And that's how it becomes so honest, and put them on hot seat. Once they're already on hot seat before the interview, it might be already, they are more, prepared to face whatever comes during the interview. Quick question as we wrap up this, session: how valuable are tech certifications, to these roles? And I also see Leonardo asking similar question here. These days to be invited to an interview, having this certification, does it really have any significance?
Yes. Um, Personally, I would say that certifications these days are a validation or a testament to the fact that you possess a particular skill and you can use specific sets of tools and technologies. So yes, I would say they are valuable, and it also depends on it is role specific, and it is job specific. It is also company specific. What do I mean by that? A particular company you could be applying to might have all of their data infrastructure set up on AWS cloud or Azure cloud. And ideally, you as an engineer or a SWE or a data engineer applying for such role, for any role in that company, once you have maybe an AWS cloud practitioner certification or maybe a solutions architect certification, or if it's Azure, you have the Azure Data Engineer certification, or any of the recognized certification. It gives the recruiting body, maybe the company or the HR or anyone sieving out CVs, that, oh yes, this person is actually serious. Yeah, we can actually like work with this person, and if we onboard this person on our team, it's not going to take so much time for the person to come up to speed on how we do our data work, and it wouldn't also be a bottleneck for this person to come up with ideas on things we can do better with our current data infrastructure. So yes, certifications are pretty much very important, very good. But the most important part of it is that you need to be strategic with certifications. Yeah, you need to be strategic with certifications. Yeah, you can't literally do all the certifications out there. So I would personally say, let's say I am looking at a particular company in the next 3 months, or in the next 6 months, or in the next 1 year. What I'm basically going to do is that I could just like reach out to a few people, understand their data environment, and now say, okay, I think this Azure certification, or maybe this Kubernetes administrator certification, is going to be of more importance to the recruiting team or the team lead than this other certification. So you need to sift through certifications to know which one to do. Yes, they are very important. And they are also a way of qualifying your CV for the next round. So most times you can have like hundreds of people apply for a particular role. And you even see it in the job roles where they will tell you so certification is a plus, so certification is an advantage. Yeah. So yes, they are very important and they are valuable.
You did so good justice to this, and thanks for that. Yes, I used to say certification is a way to validate your skill, but not always. It just complement. It's a way to show your commitment to that field. If you say I'm experienced at doing this, and then you have certification around that as well, just show that, oh, you are committed to that area, of specialization, and that can really be of great advantage. And of course, he helped us dissect how to choose what kind of certification you should go for. So not just all, you look at the kind of jobs you are looking at, looking into, and what certification is more relevant to that. And even make inquiry from people that have already had that kind of certification to understand how that knowledge is helpful for them, or how it has given them any form of advantage since they've gained that certification. And that can inform you in your next exam. Okay. Certification give you the scope of the subject area and we help you read for and wide, read far and wide. Yes, even when we are preparing for it, you definitely have to read more than what you do on job, and that will also be one of the advantage. As we bring this to an end, I can't see any question right now. I can see compliments, appreciating you for your insight. I'll just ask you this. For okay, I think I saw a question. I was trying to I see a question that I'm trying to catch up, but I couldn't open it. It's directly, it was posted to me on LinkedIn. But let me see if I can read the top part. Uh, no, I think I missed it now. Is it expected nowadays that the data analyst should also be able to create solutions to gather data too? For example, we see to the data analyst, when you get to organization, there's no data infrastructure, so you have to be the one you try to create a data warehouse and those things. So the question from Shamil is it important nowadays that data analysts now should be doing the work of data engineer? Oh, what we say?
Um, I would say that um, it's in different ways. Personally, you can pick up the skills for yourself to get the job done, depending on the urgency or severity of the ask that is being thrown at you. Yeah, so there are times whereby, as a data analyst, if maybe, so this is how it is. Data engineers are at, how would I put it? They are at the back end and they get a ton of requests. And sometimes It's more or less like a queue, first in, first out, and based on urgency or priority. There are times whereby as a data analyst, you could want to like create an ad hoc report and you've reached out to the data engineer, depending on the company setup, that you need so data to be able to get so report and all of that. And the data engineer says, oh yes, we've got your request, we'll tend to it. And for you as a data analyst, time is not on your side. You could literally just reach out to data engineer. Okay, can you do this for me? Can you just maybe just extract this data and put it somewhere and let me, or you could just, can you give me connections to the DB? Can I try to like fetch the data myself, maybe using SQL queries or DB link or one thing or the other, or maybe you've literally learned how to use Azure Data Factory and you're trying to move it from the data engineering DB to your own reporting DB, to your department reporting DB. So yes, it's not compulsory, but I would say personally, if so, this is how it is. Put yourself as a recruiter or a company owner or a business owner. If you see, um, if you see a data analyst that has a little bit of engineering skills, you see another analyst with no engineering skills, who would you hire? You literally want to hire the one with engineering skills. But like I said, it is not compulsory and it depends on the business setup or the company setup. In some companies, they have dedicated resources doing every single thing. And in some other companies, you see where maybe it's the data analyst that will literally do everything from point A to point B. Yeah, the one that will literally maybe even go and scrape data or fetch data from somewhere and all of that. Yep.
Thanks for
So,
that. So it's good to be
yep,
on the to understand the
yep,
company, and it's not a must to have. For example, when I joined, my previous organization, about last two organizations, there was nothing like data engineer, and there was nothing
yep,
like data warehouse. But when I joined, and within the team that was working, we were given a task that requires that we put data from one place to another. If the goal was to build a dashboard, reporting dashboard, but we
yep.
knew that we could not build it on top of transactional data. We need to move the data and just put it somewhere. So we had to create a mini data warehouse, data mart, where we were able to dump only the data that we need for the purpose of delivering that visualization. We weren't into data engineer creating pipeline, but we had to, because we know that it's very critical to deliver that work. So we had to pick up the skill, learn how to create those pipelines, learn how to put them on daily load, all those T minus one, those kind of things. So that's exactly what Tim is explaining. Picking them up is added advantage to you, but it's not a must all day, because the organization you are
Yeah.
going to determines, if you will need it or not. Okay.
Yeah.
We are done, and I just want to appreciate you so much, Tammy, for sharing this with us. To be honest, this is good. A lot of people today are not aware of all the things you've shared with us, and or some of them are, some people are not top of mind. They know something like that, but they don't know how critical it is to helping them skate through, this data engineer interviews. And so we really appreciate it. Is there any final word you'd like to give to anyone that is preparing for interview, or that is passionate about data engineer who is just starting out in this career?
I would say, for anyone just starting out, my final word would be that, um, data engineering is pretty much simple if you set your heart to it. And interviewing for data engineering roles are also, I would say, it's also simple if you put your heart to it. Why? Because if you look at it this way, as a data engineer, what are the basic skills? I'll just try to use this. I'll round up by highlighting the basic skills that you need to like actually have as a data engineer. Number one, you need to understand data modeling. Then after data modeling, number two, you need to understand database systems, schema design. Then from there, you also need to understand data warehousing and different tools for doing data warehousing. It's not compulsory for you to know all the technologies that they use in data warehousing, but you need to understand the major and basic concepts, and then also understand the modern data warehousing concepts like lake houses and the rest. It's just an added plus. Then also you need to understand batch and stream processing. What we mean by batch processing, what we mean by stream processing. Then also, like I said, part of I already mentioned data structures and algorithm. It's compulsory depending on the kind of company you're looking at. Then data concepts like change data capture, that's CDC, data normalization, 1F, 2NF, 3NF, and all of that. Then finally, when interviewing as a data engineer, it's always necessary that you go at least, you prepare your mind with at least two projects, that in case there's time, in case it is being requested of you, ready to showcase like two projects, maybe in batch processing or stream processing, that you've done for yourself. It's not always compulsory, but just go prepared. It means that when it comes to batch processing, you've done a particular project, you've done all the orchestration, all the scheduling, moving of data around, and data design. And also, when it comes to stream processing, you've also done all of that too. And lastly, some bigger companies like enterprises that still use the big data processing platforms like Hadoop, you need to understand Hadoop, MapReduce, Spark, RDDs, and the rest. But like I said, you need to do your own research when it comes to interviews. But the basic skill as a data engineer is understand data modeling, understand batch and stream processing, then understand SQL, Python, all those, yeah, basic skills. If I am to hire a beginner or entry level data engineer today, I would say just come to me with your Python skills, your SQL skills, and your understanding of data modeling, your problem solving skills. Because from those three things, you can literally build the rest. You can literally learn the rest, like learn on the job. Yeah. So that's all. That's all I would say. And thank you very much for having me.
Wow,
It's a pleasure.
that's an awesome summary. Can we say thank you to Temi and Ridwan? To be honest, this is, you were giving a summary, but the summary in itself is very loaded with a lot of things, including what we could not capture, touch base with. For example, the basic skills you need. You took us through that journey as a beginner, things to focus on, the skills, the concept. That's amazing, and we really appreciate you, Tim Lola. Okay, so on this note, we're bringing this show to an end. It was very short. Next 2 weeks, we're coming again, and I will share details as to what topic we're dealing with then. If you have anything you'd like us to talk about, please feel free to pass that in the comment. If there's something you need in area of data and AI that you'd like us to bring on this show, if there's someone you'd like us to bring, please feel free to drop those details in the comment. Don't forget to follow and like this video. Let's keep spreading this positive, know, message and get people. Someone need this content right now, even after this show. Someone is preparing for interview. Someone is lost and does not even know how to navigate, career, data career interview. By sharing, by liking, by retweeting wherever you find this, I mean, it's going to go a long way to reach those people. And yeah, the little things we do can change a lot of people's lives. So why not keep doing them? Thank you very much once again to our guest today, Ridwan, as well as Temilola, and more importantly to you for being part of this show, listening, contributing, asking questions, and joining us. Thank you and